evening. My name is Glenda Gray. I'm the President and CEO of the Medical Research Council, and we're delighted to have you here at our gala tonight. I want to welcome my special guest tonight. First of all, Mr. Andrei SAMRC. He's the Consul General of Romania. Steve Smith, who's the US Health Attaché. Our DG, Precious Matsotso. Mr. Malari, our Special Advisor to the Minister of Science and Technology. Mrs. Kernov, who's representing Mr. Kernov, a Member of Parliament. Our board members, both past and present. It's lovely to see you all here. The CEO of the HSRC, representatives of the ARC, university deans and heads of departments and vice chancellors of research, distinguished scientists, researchers, their families, awardees, media representation, and of course the Medical Research Council staff, both intramural and extramural. Welcome. The Medical Research Council Gala is a very special evening. It's a time when the MRC acknowledges the great science and the scientists that we have in the country. And so we are very, very privileged tonight to again acknowledge the great scientists in our country and to also give you some good news about changing our logo. But first of all, what I want to do is I want my chairperson, Professor Mark Sategi, to come up and say a few words.
Thanks, Glenda. And, colleagues, it's really a privilege to be here tonight, and you are all welcome. One will not repeat the names as Glenda has already done so, but except to say on behalf of the MRC, one would like to say we want to welcome in particular the awardees and the winners today, because this is their honor, and we want to also let you know that the Minister of Health and that of DST are happy to have been here. But unfortunately they couldn't make it because of other arrangements. They really honor this occasion. Of course, as it has been said, this occasion is so special that we have previous chairs of boards, previous presidents with us, and previous esteemed scientists always coming, because this is the meeting that tells us who is busy in answering the difficult questions that we cannot get correct. You know that despite all advances in medicine, we still have unanswered questions, and it is scientists such as yourself that will actually help to make sure that these breakthroughs that we are doing are becoming practical and implemented into our health today. Of course, much as the spotlight is on the winners today, it is important to also, in brief, say to you that you need to know that the status of MRC is great. MRC continues to be a world-leading organization. We continue to receive clean audits. That's very critical, yet we are financially stable. And of course, we continue to be the leaders of new knowledge generation. We do influence the policy, and Glenda will elaborate on that. We do publish in high-impact journals as MRC. And of course, we do look after our staff as well. That can never happen without the MRC staff that is full-time here and that is appreciated. That you also, as you are here, need to know that the leadership of Glenda, the EMC, and all colleagues, they are really doing well to make sure that this institution is well looked after. And you need to know that the people here are also dealing with lots of challenges of trying to get funding. So this occasion in itself, it also helps with the caliber of people that are here, that the DG and the DGs that are here can see that indeed MRC is having a vision, and indeed MRC will want to make sure that science is in the science is in the heart of health, and of course they will therefore promote the donations and the money that they give to MRC. This is important to make sure that Anwan and the colleagues are really convinced by that. I really want to emphasize one thing, that to the MRC staff, really, we are determined as board to really support your great work, and we really appreciate your hard work and patience. And we do have excellent leadership with Glenda here. We will do our utmost best to support you. To the outstanding researchers and awardees, there is no free dinner. So you will have to work together with us to make sure that we continue to generate groundbreaking science that will shape our healthcare, and we will rely on your experience and expertise to make sure that we can bring in new researchers and diversify the researchers that are here. And of course, one would want to wish you a hearty congratulations, and to all of us an enjoyable and inspiring evening. Of course, there are a lot of things to see and learn. I hand you back to the President. Thank you.
We're going to start off with our first award, and this is called our Anchor and Science Citizen Award, and it's the first time we are making this award. This award was developed because there was a need to support and acknowledge and celebrate the people that support science at the Medical Research Council. Booker and Nkosanathi Booker, he was the champion of this award, together with one of our board members, Yusuf Osman, Marlon Surf, Ali Dansey, Denise Neft, Sarah Bock, Giselle Klevitz, and Leanne Steenberg. We had lots and lots of people that were put forward for this award. After a lot of deliberation, there were 3 people that were shortlisted, and I want them to all stand up so we can see them. The first one was Philistia Joshua. Where is she? There you are. Alma Purcell, where are you? Alma. And Nobuntu Novevi, where are you? I saw you earlier. There you are. Now, these are all wonderful people, and they have done sterling work, and it was very difficult to make the choice about who we should give this award to. And after a lot of deliberation, the winner of the 2015 Anchor and Science Citizen Award goes to Philistia Joshua. And I just want to read, while she comes up, I just want to read her citation. So Philistia is well deserving of this award because she has excelled at all projects dedicated to her, both now and in previous years. She has been very agreeable, having a very dedicated spirit, very conscientious, and one that always ensures that projects have a positive outcome and a high level of success. This buoyancy of spirit indeed is a prerequisite for having her to have accomplished where she is already now. She has attributed a high level of standards in the projects that have been assigned to her, and she takes the responsibility very seriously of all the work that she has to do. She is and will be an anchor in research capacity development. So thank you very much, and we are very grateful to give you this award. We're going to announce the Silver Awards. The first one goes to Prof. Anne Gottberg.
The second recipient of the Silver Award goes to Dr. Jonathan Peter.
I'd like to announce our first Gold Award, and that goes to Prof. Nalda Bayers.
The second recipient is Professor Gary Martins.
It's all such pleasures to give this Gold Award to such well-deserving people. I must say, it's a great pleasure, and particularly a great pleasure to announce Prof. Lynn Morris as a Gold Awardee.
Say just 2 minutes. First of all, I want to congratulate the MRC for having these awards and for celebrating excellence in science. And I'm obviously delighted and honoured to accept the award. But I also want to thank Prof. Shabir Mahdi, who nominated me for the award. And also just to thank him actually for being such an inspirational leader at the NICD and really supporting the work that we do and being very encouraging. He's really allowed us to thrive actually. But I also wanted to just say something about collaboration because that's, I think, the essence of success in science. Because the sum is always going to be much more than the parts. And so it's really wonderful that both Slim and Carolyn are here tonight because they really are long-time collaborators of mine on the Caprisa cohort. And we're really getting into a very exciting phase actually, where the work that we did in the lab, isolating monoclonal antibodies, are being developed as drugs, and Slim is going to test them for the prevention of HIV back in the communities that we isolated them from. And I just think that's really a very exciting step. And so I think, we've got exciting times ahead of us. But I also want to thank Glenda. Glenda and I have also been working together for many years on vaccine R&D. And I think we really are at a pivotal time in the epidemic where, Glenda has really orchestrated starting 2 large clinical trials next year. So we're going to be running 2 very big trials that I think are going to give us a vaccine. So I think that's also a very exciting time. And then, of course, I really want to thank the people that work with me in the lab. In the 23 years that I've been at the NICD, I've just seen, just generations of really smart young scientists, postdocs and students who just worked hard, put their energy, their creativity into finding solutions to this problem. And particularly actually to single out Penny Moore, who came to the lab as a postdoc and now actually has her own grants, and we actually run the whole group together. And she has a PhD student who just 2 weeks ago published a paper in Nature Medicine, which for those of you who don't know is a really high-ranking journal for a PhD student. And I think what that really says is the value of building teams, because people build on what came before them. And actually, every time people just keep getting better and better. And so I think it's about the longevity of research and supporting research in the long term. So once again, thank you very much. I'm really I'm thrilled that you've honoured our work in this way. Thank you.
I have to say that Shabir Mahdi was my protege. So I see you always look after and always manage people that are greater than you. So I'm very glad that you acknowledged him.
So colleagues, we move on, and the next recipient is Professor Rob Warren.
So our last gold award goes to an international scientist. We always like to award international scientists that commit to South Africa and add value and impact. And it's a great pleasure to announce Professor Robert Wilkinson as our International Gold Awardee for the spectacular science he does, for being an A-rated scientist and for all the capacity development that he has done in the country. So thank you very much. We just wanted to tell you what these awards mean to us. So the recipients of the Silver Award are our upcoming and talented young scientists, and we like to acknowledge them and reward them and watch them as they grow in their life. For our gold category of people, the scientists that we gave our gold awards to are world-renowned and great scientists that have made tremendous impact in South Africa and internationally. And so the recipients of the gold awards are, as you've seen, are scientists that are of spectacular caliber and pedigree. And now it gives me great pleasure to go and award our Platinum MRC Awards. Now, to get a Platinum Award from the MRC indicates stature both in South Africa and internationally of unprecedented impact. And we award these Platinum Awards to incredibly special and dedicated scientists who have made overwhelming impact and who continue to make overwhelming impact. And these recipients, not only have they made overwhelming impact, but they are also mentoring and supporting other scientists. And some of them you'll recognize. Slim mentored Lynn. So Platinum mentors gold, mentors silver. And so this just shows you the stature of the Platinum Awards. I also need to remind you that these awards are silver, these are real metal, gold, precious metal, and platinum. These are platinum, truly platinum medals. And so, Robin, don't give them to Ollie to play with, and keep them safe. But it is great pleasure, and we want to now announce the people who've got the Platinum Awards. And so the first person, great pleasure, the previous president of the South African Medical Research Council, extraordinary scientist and wonderful South African, Professor Slim Abdul Karim.
Thank you very, very much. Indeed, this honor has very special meaning for me. Not only because I've just recently completed a stint as president of the MRC, but because this is my home in terms of research. I did my first research projects as a post-intern bursar funded by the MRC, working at the MRC in Durban back in 1985. So I have worked at the MRC for the last, since 1985, for about 20 odd years. And in all of that time, it has always been home to me. Indeed, I remember back in the day doing the review of Dan Stein's unit when he first had an MRC unit in Stellenbosch. And I remember very fondly sitting down with Linda Richter, talking to her, trying to convince her to join me as deputy director in SAMRC. Those were great days. But I want to thank many people who made all of this possible. Not only has Croatia stood by my side as my life partner, but also as a colleague, as a fellow researcher. We've walked many paths together, undertaken many projects together, and I'm sorry she's not here tonight. She's actually in Genoa giving a talk at the World Academy of Sciences. So doing what is normally her task, which is to reach out and to convey the importance of science to the world. But also to my colleagues and friends who I've worked with over many years. Many of them are sitting here today, Debbie, Carl, Charles, and so on. And to my colleagues who've worked with me in Caprisa. And I'm very pleased to have with me here today both Lynn Morris and Carolyn Williamson, who I have a very strong and long-standing relationship with. In Croatia's absence, I had to bring somebody who was indeed special to me. And so I chose my daughter. Not only is she a final year student at UCT, and I can only let you imagine what she's been doing in the last 2 weeks at UCT. And going to classes is not one of them. But she always reminds me of the importance of communicating and in sharing what we find in research with the public. I want to, before ending off, I'd like to invite somebody to join me on stage, because she's had such a profound impact, and with all her support of our research over the last several years. Can I invite Precious Motsotso? Please, Madame, join me up on stage. Not only is Precious our DG, but you would have seen in the video, she's a visitor, she's a supporter, and for me, she brings to the Department of Health exactly what we need, which is policy that is based on good science. So I want to use this opportunity to say to you, Precious, a very big thank you. Lastly, I want to thank the MRC, to thank the board, to thank Glenda, and to thank all of the people at the MRC who made my time here indeed a very special one. As I stand outside the MRC and see all the things that you are doing, I'm indeed very proud of what you are achieving. I'm very proud of the stature you have taken the MRC to, and I'm very proud to see in what strong tones of support people mention the name of the MRC. I have to say that it makes me proud to be associated with all of you, and I wish you well. Thank you very much.
I'm going to ask the DG to stay on. DG, you're not allowed to go. DG, you have to stay. And it's hardly ever I can order the DG around. So I'm going to enjoy my time to order it. I wanted to stay because I would love her to say some words after we make the next announcement. So I'm going to ask my chair to make the next announcement.
Colleagues, the next announcement is, and the recipient is a world-class scientist, an A-rated researcher by NRF, but yet very humble. And he has really introduced mental health to this country. He has really matured in how he actually nurture people. He's one of the few people that understands that imaging is core to precision medicine. He has really taken mental health to what it's supposed to be. And indeed, he's a world-renowned researcher. Professor Dan Stein.
Thank you so much. It's really a privilege to be able to stand up here, particularly after Slim, who stole my words because I was going to thank him for being one of the reviewers on the initial MRC application, MRC unit application. So I'm doing my best to be on good behavior here because we psychiatrists, you know, we do have a reputation, and it's important that everyone else in the room see us as part of medicine and see mental health as something that's very important to investigate and to fund. We're a little bit different from other colleagues, though, in the sense that I really hope that South Africa succeeds over the next couple of decades, and of course if it does, there won't be jobs in HIV and TB, and there'll be many more jobs in psychiatry. That is a measure of the growth of a nation, of its economic power, and of other aspects of good living in a country, is that mental health becomes a larger proportion of the burden of disease. I remember when there was it might still be up, but there's an MRC board with the people that have got gold and platinum medals. And I remember there was Professor Gevers on that list. And I thought of him as an incredibly wise man, but also an old man. So I'm trying to also act a little bit young, you know. There are some important thank yous I'd want to make. The first is to the University of Stellenbosch, and I'm glad Jimmy is here representing Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch is the home of the unit to begin with, And they were so kind to put their trust in a person, I think, who was barely 30 at the time of that application that Slim sat on the board of. And they've been incredibly supportive ever since. I then moved to the University of Cape Town, and it's great to see Tanya Douglas and other colleagues from the university over here. They provided a second home to me. It's been a tremendous journey with the MRC. My unit has been going, our unit has been going for 20 years. And so a huge thank you to the MRC. It's a very different kind of a grant from any other kind of grant that one gets, in the sense that one has enormous flexibility. You can really use the funding as you see fit, whereas many other grants, there's much less flexibility and it doesn't allow you to mature. There's also the fact that the unit sticks around for quite a while allows one to change over time, investigate new areas. So we began work in imaging, we began work in genetics, we began work in psychotherapy, controlled trials, and I don't think we could have done this with other mechanisms such as NIH or Wellcome, which wouldn't have given us the trust that the MRC placed in us. And as I said, when I started, I was so young, I don't think I deserved the trust. So that is really enormously helpful. There are many colleagues I'd want to say thank you. It's wonderful to see Charles and Bronwyn, other substance use people, and we've had long interactions over the years. Obviously not in substance abuse, obviously intellectual interactions over the years. And if I start going around the room, I'm bound to leave out names. But I noticed that Linda Richter is here, and she's been an inspiration. And many colleagues at different universities and at the MRC itself, who I'd want to say thank you. You know who you are. And then finally, of course, no, it's not finally, there's a penultimate. The penultimate is my colleagues at the MRC unit and our students. I'd like to mention Christine Lochner in particular, who's been an absolute rock. Soraya Sidat, who is our first postdoc on the unit and has become an international star in her own right. But the many PhD and postdocs that we have. And then finally, friends and family, of whom tonight who's here is Heather, who is starting off with her own journey with her own MRC unit. And really, there's nothing I could have done in science without her. So just to thank her for all that she has given me. So thanks very much.
Thanks very much. So the final award tonight is the Presidential Award. And the Presidential Award is an award that is given to a person that has excelled in the field of health and related science. And it's usually given to a person who is nearing the end of their career and who has blossomed and continues to blossom and doesn't seem to want to end their career. And this year, I would like to award the Presidential Award to Linda Richter. Now, Linda Richter, as you've heard before, both from Slim and Dan, started her career at the Medical Research Council, or was midway in the Medical Research Council. And I was a young pediatrician, and I was starting to do some work in HIV. And I was trying to work out what the infant mortality rate was in South Africa. And everyone said to me, you have to phone Linda Richter. And as a little young doctor, I was in the ICU at Baragwanath Hospital, and I got the phone number of the Medical Research Council, and I got through to this Linda Richter. And she spent about half an hour on the phone to me, talking to me about infant mortality and the Birth to 20 study. And along my journey in science, I encountered Linda Richter many times, and always she had the most incredible bandwidth and intellect, and the most amazing ability to interpret science with such clarity and expertise. And she is an A-rated scientist. She has many accomplishments and many awards, but I hope that she will consider the Presidential Award by the Medical Research Council as one of the most pivotal awards that she'll ever get in her life.
Well, I'm incredibly honoured by this award. It really is a pinnacle of a sort. So thank you very much, Glenda, and thank you to the MRC. Like Slim, this was for me a very fine address, and it remains an organisation that I admire. But I must say I was taken aback somewhat by the award, and I presume some of you are too. Firstly, I'm taken aback because I don't feel, despite my current hip problem, that I'm old enough to have notched up the accomplishments of Malekapura Makgoba and Jerry Kavadia. But you must be surprised because I'm a social scientist, not a medical scientist. In fact, I'm a developmental psychologist. I'm a developmental psychologist and started my research career studying how babies acquire consciousness and language. But I think me getting this award says something about the way in which disciplines are being reconfigured to address the complexity of human problems in our time. No longer can we work in isolation. We need the conceptual frameworks and understanding and the methodological expertise of all disciplines to step up and collaborate in order for us to move forward. But I also think this award sends a very strong signal of encouragement to the many social scientists and humanities scholars who work on health-related issues in South Africa. It recognizes their work and extends an invitation to deeper collaboration. And I think that's important. As other people have said before me, one never walks this road alone. And I'd like to thank my family, my son is here with me, and my partner, my many colleagues and collaborators, but especially the tens of talented postgraduate students and interns who've walked this path with me. So thank you very, very much.
I'd love the DG to say some words. She has also some exciting news. We are a talented country. You know, we are internationally renowned, and whether we work in science or in government, we make impact. And I'd like the DG to come and say a few words, and also to tell us her good news and what impact she's making.
Good evening. Can I say that perhaps just following on what Linda said, indeed we are going to find significance in social and behavioral science, particularly after the social development goals have been adopted by the United Nations recently. But it sort of creates a nexus between biomedical science, social behavioral science, and it calls for us to find solutions, particularly in our country. As you can see, we are confronted with serious social issues. And perhaps we need to use this as an opportunity to find those social mechanisms by which we can respond as a country. And Glenda, you know, I just whispered in her ear, now she wants me to make an announcement. And now I'm a little bit embarrassed because I wasn't ready for this. Okay. Yesterday I got a letter, the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon appointed me to a high-level panel for these social development goals. And it's quite an involved task. So one is that I haven't finished my other task. Of course, the South African one is a difficult one. I'll never finish it. Only if you help me, of course. I mean, there are able-minded people here who will obviously help me find solutions to the problems that confront us in South Africa. But the other a piece of work that I haven't finished is that of being the chair of the executive board of WHO. I'm supposed to finalize the reform of WHO, and for some of you, you are experts, you serve in various expert committees and technical, working groups and so on. I haven't finished that, and now Ban Ki-moon thinks I'm not busy. I've got spare time, and I just got this letter, so I'll be on this panel, and we'll probably invite some of you to help us with some of the, and it's mainly to look at how we can advance public health by making available and accessible health technologies across the world, and with an aim to reach the Sustainable Development Goals. I mean, they've just been announced, so I think they're a little bit enthusiastic. But anyway, thank you very much.
So research, and specifically medical research, is the backbone to growing and developing our country. We do not often get to meet the pioneering researchers striving to change the lives of people now and in the future. We at the South African Medical Research Council hope this event proves to be an expression of our gratitude for your dedication, devotion, discipline and determination in your work. I also wish to express my gratitude to the teams who have made this evening possible, especially our events management team and our organizing committee. I wish you all a pleasant and enjoyable evening thereafter.